So the next point is electric potential as line integral of electric field. Before that, we need to understand what is electric potential. So electric potential is nothing but the amount of work done in bringing a unit positive charge from infinity to a given point against the direction of electric field. That means, suppose here is a charge, its field direction is like this, okay, outward. That means it is positive charge. So if a unit positive charge here is we can say it is a positive charge. So a unit positive charge, now it is at infinity. That means not actually at infinity, but as compared to these two charges, it is at very long distance. Okay, now if you want to bring this one to closer to this, suppose we will consider a point here. Okay, now we need to, as this charge is here, its field will be over all of these. Okay, but if you want to bring this unit positive charge to this point from infinity to this point against the direction of electric field, we need to do work done. So that is electric potential. Okay, this amount of work done bringing this unit positive charge from infinity to the given point is nothing against the electric field, okay, in the direction of against the electric field. So that will be the work done. That amount of work done will be the electric potential. So we denote electric potential by capital V, which is volt, and work done divided by the charge on that the charge. Okay, so that will be the work done by Q. So we know work done, unit for work done is joule, and for charge it is coulomb. Okay, so the electric potential's unit is volt or joule per coulomb. Now here we can see if we want to measure the electric potential at any point, we that is we need to do one joule of work. Okay, 1 joule of work on one coulomb charge. Okay, 1 joule of work done on 1 coulomb charge to bring it from infinity to the given point against the direction of that electric field. Okay, not in the direction of that electric field. So that will be very easy. Now we can do separately. If the electric potential VA is a potential to bring the charge A, or we can say the charge Q to the point A. Okay, this is work done to bring the charge Q to point A, and VB is a charge to bring the charge Q to point B. So we can just simply write the work done for A by this charge, the work done for B by this charge, its charge. Okay, so we if we need to, okay, so this will be the two electric potentials. Now for our simplicity, we will just take these A and B points in straight line. Okay, so we will just take them in a straight line. Now so consider point B here, point A here, and the charge Q here. So that is our original source of electric field. Now if so here if the work done to bring this Q to point B will be WB, and for this point A will be WA. Now if we subtract these two, VB minus VA, we will get WB minus WA by Q. So here we can see this work done, the difference between these two work done, that means this area, we will get a WBA. That means the work done required to bring the charge from A to B. So we can write simply this work done BA as, or AB we can say. So we will write it as a Q into VB minus VA. just corrected these AB, okay, as per notation in the book. It doesn't matter, okay. So just take these 2 points. Now here the value of work done to bring the point from A to B does depend upon the values of VB and VA, or we can say the potentials at B and A, electric potential. So if VB is bigger, this value will be positive. It is smaller, this value will be negative. If it is equal, then this value will be 0. Now consider a surface. On this surface we have the points AB. If these 2 points, the electric potential as these points is suppose is same, is equal, then we can say that these are equipotential. Now this is about equipotential points. Now consider another surface where all the points have all the points have same potential. Now this surface will be equipotential surface. Now there is a rule for equipotential surface. If the work done required for any, so work done doing on any of these points or any charges on these points will be 0. Okay, if you want to move this point on this equipotential surface, charge at this point to this point, the work done we will do will be 0. Now the next point is relation between electric field and electric potential. Consider a point charge Q here, and let's say a electric field E here, okay, at a point R. So Q is a point charge and E is electric field at a distance R from the point charge Q. Okay, so just consider another electric potential V at this point. So this is electric field, this is electric potential at this point from charge Q at a distance R. Now we know this is a charge Q. If we displace it with a small displacement dr, that is dr plus r, this total distance will be r plus dr. Okay, so that is dr. Now point charge Q is here, this is small displacement dr. So if we displace a point charge from the this point to this, that is a displacement dr, when there is a displacement, we know there is a force. So F on this charge will be Fq dot E bar. So that is a force on the charge, and we know when there is a displacement, there is a force, there is a work done. So we know work done as a displacement into force. So that will be the work done. We know force Q E bar dot dr bar. Now we know work done, where there is a work done, there is a change in potential energy. So change in potential energy, we write it as a minus dW as a minus Q E bar dot dr bar. We know potential energy and work done are opposite to each other. You know work done and potential energy are opposite to each other, so that is why there is a minus sign. Now the change in electric potential dV is du by Q. We know this. Change in electric potential energy is change in potential energy divided by the charge. So that will be minus E bar dot dr bar. Now consider potentials from a point charge Q at point A at point B. So just consider this as a potential VA, VB at a distance R1, R2. Okay, so that will be the potentials. Now we know we can write V2 minus V1, that is change in potential, electric potential energy, as here we know E bar dot dr bar, but it is a point from, it is a we can say, so we can simply subtract the potential from this point to this point, but to the relation between electric field and electric potential, we will just integrate, we will use the integration sign. So here it will be point R1 to R2 E bar dot dr bar. Now change this R1 at a point infinity, okay, and change this one to, let's say, simple R, generalized R. Now this will be the VR is equal to minus integration from infinity to r E bar dot dr bar. So that will be the general relation between electric field and electric potential. So this is infinity and this is a point r anywhere here. Okay. Next point is potential due to point charge. Now consider a point charge q, okay, at O, and we need to find potential at this point P at a distance r from this point charge q. Now first we will write electric field at point A. Consider another point here A. So this will be the total E. So this is single line, okay, direction of electric field. Now we need to find electric field at this point. But before this, just consider a point A from Q at a distance x. So electric field at point A, we can write E is equal to Q by, because there is no charge at this point, only one charge, so Q into Q by 4 pi epsilon naught distance r, but in this case it is x, so x square. So that will be the magnitude of electric field at point A from at a distance x from O. So this is also analogous to or similar to the force F of force per unit charge, force per unit positive charge, because if we consider here a unit positive charge, that will be plus q, but q's value will be 1. So here we just we can't write we can simply write q, okay, single one, this one, okay, and as it is a positive charge, it here no negative sign, okay. So this is as same as force per unit positive charge. Now if we displace this point charge, now we can consider as here it is as a positive unit positive charge, because this field is same as the force per unit positive charge. Now if we displace this point charge, unit positive charge, from A to B, there will be small displacement dx. Now we can write the work done for this unit, to move this unit positive charge from A to B in opposite to the against the electric field direction. So we can write dw as the work done minus E dx. So that will be the minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught x square dx. Now this is for the only displacement dx. If we want to calculate the work done to bring a unit positive charge from infinity to the point P, that is from infinity to the point P, we can integrate over infinity to the r. So we will just put this quantity inside the integral sign. So we are calculating for this calculating for the total work done to bring this unit positive charge from infinity to r at P, okay, at P, or the distance is r, so from infinity to r. But here, by the definition of electric potential, this above quantity is electric potential at point P, this whole quantity. This is work done for per unit positive charge, okay, and it is same as a electric potential at point P. So we can just write V for this integral So this will be the electric potential at point P. Now if we solve this integral, minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught integral infinity to r 1 by x square dx, we know this integral, so I will directly write just the answer, minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught by r. So that will be the sorry, here it is positive. Okay, so that will be the total electric potential at point P, and if this charge q is negative, we can write negative here. Okay, this point is electric dipole, in which we will study electric potential due to dipole and electric field due to dipole. First point is electric potential due to dipole. Now just consider this electric dipole with, of course it is dipole, it will have the charges plus q and minus q separated by the distance, let's say 2a. Okay, so here is a point, let's say point O, and this distance is a, this distance is also a. So consider another point here P. Now electric dipole, as it is a dipole, it has a electric dipole moment, so it is a vector quantity, we can show it as a q into 2a. So electric dipole moment of this combination of these charges, and it is directed always, it is a vector quantity, it is always directed from minus q to plus q, so that its notation p bar. So here another moment has came into our consideration, that is electric dipole moment. So here we can see the distance, the contributing part of distance to a, and the charge. So any physical quantity which relates to the moment, we see distance and that physical quantity. Now consider this dipole making an angle theta. So we just need to find the electric potential at this point P, and just draw these lines. So that will be R, that will be R1 and R2. So we know if we want to find potential capital V at this point P, we can add the potentials due to plus Q and minus Q. So using the definitions of potential, we can write Q 4 pi epsilon naught R1 minus, because this minus charge, Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R2. So we can just add these two. Okay, so we will take out the commons outside, 4 pi epsilon naught in bracket 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Now call this equation 2 or equation 1. Here if you consider this diagram by geometry of this triangle like this, okay, consider this geometry, we know the formula for obtuse angle triangle cos theta is equal to a square plus b square minus c square by 2ab. So that will be the formula we are going to use in this equation. Let's say r1 square here for this triangle, r1 square is equal to r square plus a square r square plus a square minus 2ar cos theta. So that will be the formula we are using. Okay, so if you take out r1 square, okay, here if we take out r square common, we will get 1 minus 2a cos theta from this term, r plus here a square by r square. So this will be the term. Now as r is very greater if you consider an electric dipole, that will be very small distance, so A will be very less than R, that is R is very so much bigger than A, so we can neglect this term. Okay, so I will just write R1 square is equal to R square 1 minus 2A cos theta by R. Now we can write this as a, okay, we can rearrange this 1 by R1 is equal to 1 by R, then 1 minus 2A cos theta by R. So that will be minus 1 by 2. You can solve this. Now using binomial theorem, so we can use a binomial theorem for this bracket, and I will write 1 by R1 as 1 by R 1 plus A cos theta by R. So only considering the first terms, okay, first order terms in that expansion of this by this term, okay, binomial expansion of this term. So you just study that one, binomial expansion of this term. Okay, so we just take the only first terms, okay, first order terms here, because the higher order terms are not necessary. Okay, those are very small terms, we can neglect those, so we can just take these two. So call this equation number 2. Now similarly, for the second triangle with R2, we can write directly 1 by R square as 1 by R 1 minus A cos theta by R. So you can calculate this second term, so call this equation 3. Now in equation first we can put all these values. What was the equation first? P is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught bracket 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. So that was the equation. After putting these two, equation 2's and equation 3's value in this equation, we get V is Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. I will just write it directly. You can calculate it, 2A cos theta by R square. But here we can see this 2AQ is nothing but P. So we know 2A into Q. So this is electric dipole moment. So we can just put the value here, P cos theta by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. So that will be the potential for due to the dipole. Now the if the point is on the axis of the dipole, that means the theta will be 0. So cos 0 is 1, so we can write just P by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. Now if the this charge okay, sorry, this not this, that Q is positive or negative, then we can write it here positive or negative. That Q might be it can be positive or negative, we know this. And if this point, the point P is the point P where we are finding electric potential is on equatorial plane, that is with the angle 90 degree, the theta will be 0, so potential will be 0. So that is all about electric potential due to dipole. So next point is electric field due to a dipole. So we have the electric potentials formula as dV is minus E dot dr. Now we can use this formula to obtain electric field. Okay, so dV, or we know the another form dr cos theta. So this is vector, E is a vector, we know, okay, and dr also. So as we know, electric field has two components. One is radial component, and another one is transverse component. So we know radial component as ER is equal to minus dou V by dou R. So by putting the value of V, we know the value in our last electric potential due to dipole. So we just put that value here. that will be P cos theta by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So constants outside, and solving this for dou by dou r, we get ER is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2p cos theta by r cube. So here constant, this 4 pi epsilon naught is only a constant. Okay, so transverse component, for transverse component E theta we know minus 1 by r dv by d theta. So similarly we have the value for V, potential, electric potential due to dipole. So putting this value and differentiating, we get E theta is equal to P sin theta by 4 pi epsilon naught r cube. So that will be the radial component and transverse component for the electric field due to the dipole. Understand the radial and transverse components. Just consider this curvilinear motion of a particle. Okay, so there will be the position vector P. Now radial component means a radial motion in a radial direction. Okay, so that will be the motion in a radial direction. This is theta, so that will be ER. So that component that is moving in outward direction from the origin, so that component of that field will be radial component. And transverse, if we plot this perpendicular to the original path, this path, so we will get E theta. So this is transverse component. If you take this point, these components will change. Okay, because here this ER will change this direction as the direction changes. So here also the E theta will change, because here it will be like this. So ER again, E theta change. So we will just denote them with ER dash, E theta dash. So to represent this motion we can use these components. So this is the idea of radial and transverse component. So radial component is originate from the origin and moves outward, and the perpendicular component to that one is a transverse component. So this represents motion in this direction, and this represents motion in this direction. So we can say these are the unit vectors, and this is the P position vector, main vector. Now we will study the electric field due to a spherical shell. Okay, so uniformly charged spherical shell. Consider a uniformly charged spherical shell like this, with center O, radius capital R, and at outside of it we'll consider a point P. Okay, so this distance from O will be small r. Now this inner shell is spherical shell, and the outer one, with if you consider this r as a center and we plot this, all these points, those will be equipotential points. Okay, equipotential points due to the spherical symmetry of this shell. Okay, so at point P, whatever will be the charge or the potential, same at all these points on this outer circle or outer surface. We can call it as a Gaussian surface. Okay, Gaussian surface. Okay, so this is Gaussian surface, this is our spherical shell. Now first we will find out for the point the electric field for the point P outside this shell. Then we will find it on the shell and inside the shell. So let's start with outside the shell. Now if ds, let's say small area element ds at this point P, then we can calculate the flux at this point as electric field E bar ds bar. So the total flux we can integrate like this: E dot ds integral over a closed surface. So but we have a Gauss law which states that the total flux through a closed surface can be written as total charge enclosed, that is Q. That Q is this Q charge is distributed uniformly on the spherical shell. Okay, so this charge divided by the permittivity of free space. Okay, so that is the Gauss law. As here we can see this E bar dot ds bar. E bar and ds bar are parallel at each point. Okay, these two are parallel at each and every point. So we can just neglect all those vector signs. So integral over closed surface E ds will be q by epsilon naught, and taking this E constant outside, this ds will be q by epsilon naught. But this closed surface over integral small area element shows that it is a 4 pi r square, that is total surface area of this Gaussian surface. So this represents a total surface area because this is small ds is a small area element. Then if we integrate the for the whole surface, we will get 4 pi r square. So we can put the value here: E 4 pi r square is equal to q by epsilon naught. So E will be the q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Now if sigma is a surface charge density, that is charge per unit surface area of the spherical shell, then sigma has the value q by 4 pi r square. Okay, so that is total surface, that is total charge on that Gaussian surface. Now the spherical shell. Then we can write q as a sigma 4 pi r square. After this we can put this value of q in this equation. So E will be the sigma 4 pi r square by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So here this goes cancelled, and we get the electric field E as a sigma r square by epsilon naught r square. So we know electric field due to a spherical shell outside this spherical shell. Okay, so E q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. By putting the value of sigma, that is surface charge density, we know E is equal to sigma r square by epsilon naught r square. This r is radius of Gaussian surface, and this r is radius of that spherical shell. So when that was the case when that the point for which we were finding the electric field was outside the spherical shell. Now consider the second point on the surface of the shell, So that means this r that was for Gaussian surface will be same as that they will be same as the shell. Okay, just consider this diagram. This is r, and for the outside the radius for the outside point was r. Now as this point is on the surface, this r is same as this capital R. Small r is same as capital R, so that will be only sigma by epsilon naught. So electric field on the surface of the spherical shell is sigma by epsilon naught. And third one is inside the spherical shell. So inside the shell, just see this diagram, that is capital R, that is our spherical shell. Now inside this shell, that means the point P with radius r is here, that is r is very less, only less than capital R. So here we know as it is a spherical shell, there are no charges inside it, so this Q is 0. So due to this, E will be 0. So there is no electric field inside the spherical shell. As it is a shell, it is not filled, so inside there is no charge. If it was a sphere, there must be some charges. Okay. Next point is uniformly charged sphere. Now we will discuss about the electric field outside the uniformly charged sphere, on the surface of that sphere, and inside that sphere. So just consider this uniformly charged sphere with charge Q, so with the center O, radius capital R, and now we will consider the first case, outside the sphere. So we know sphere and shell. Sphere is a solid one, it is not hollow, and spherical shell is a hollow sphere. Okay, so now this sphere is charged uniformly with plus, we can take positive charge, positive plus Q charge. Okay, so it has a radius R and center O. Now as usual, we will consider a Gaussian surface. Let's take a point P and draw a Gaussian surface. On this Gaussian surface, every point will have the same electric field because this symmetry of that sphere. Okay, so we know this is a Gaussian surface, and this is our original uniformly charged sphere. So radius of this one is R. Okay, small r. Now we just need to find the electric field. So first we will find out the flux through this. We know the flux here, flux through the small area element ds. So d phi will be E bar dot ds bar. Now, so this is flux through the small area element at point P, that is ds. So we need to integrate this d phi to get the complete flux through the all Gaussian surface. Now integrating this, we know E bar and ds bar are parallel to each other, so their dot product will be 1. So we can just ignore these vector signs, and as this is a closed surface, we can put a closed surface or closed curve symbol. Okay. So here we know the Gauss law, that is the total flux phi is the total charge enclosed by the permittivity of free space or dielectric medium. Here it is a free space. Okay, so it is epsilon naught. Now the we just put this value because here we know E bar dot ds bar is equal to Q by epsilon naught from this and this. Now here we can just take out this E bar as, sorry, we are not taking the bar now, E outside, and ds is equal to Q by epsilon naught, but this has some value. We know 4 pi r square, that is total Gaussian surface area. So we just put the value 4 pi r square is equal to Q by epsilon naught, and we come to the conclusion E is equal to Q by 4 pi r square epsilon naught. So that is resultant electric field outside the sphere at point P or any equivalent points on this Gaussian surface. Because it is a uniformly charged sphere, it has spherical symmetry. So this is about outside the sphere. Now on the surface of that sphere, we know we just come from this R to here. Okay, so that will be the capital R. Okay, so this R becomes capital R, so we just modify this formula. So E is equal to Q by 4 pi capital R square epsilon naught. So this is expression for electric field on the surface of a sphere. Next point is electric field inside the solid sphere. So we know the sphere is uniformly charged with charge Q. Now this sphere, I will just draw it a bigger one. Okay, now consider this is our spherical shell with radius capital R, and this is a Gaussian surface where we are finding the electric field. So with center O. Now just consider this diagram. Now from the last point we know the flux through this surface area, this Gaussian surface, is integral closed integral over E bar dot ds bar. So we know its value as E into 4 pi r square, and according to Gauss law, pi is equal to q by epsilon naught. So q is now we know the q is a charge for the whole solid sphere, but it must be a charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface, so we will just name it q1. Now we have to find the q1 to get the electric field. To calculate q1 we need a rho, that is volume charge density or charge density per unit volume. So we need to find this value to get the charge enclosed by this inner Gaussian surface. So we know rho's value as a total charge by total volume. Simple. Total volume of Gaussian surface, because we are total volume of the entire sphere, because we know we are finding its charge per unit volume. So here we can write sphere, not Gaussian surface. Okay, so we will find this volume charge density or charge per unit volume, then we will multiply it with this its volume of this inner Gaussian surface. So just find out this for this total charge of the sphere, it is q. Total volume of that sphere we know 4 by 3 pi r cube. So that is for outer one. Okay, so we know now this is volume charge density or charge per unit volume. Now to find the charge and the total charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface, we just multiply this volume charge density with the volume of that Gaussian surface, which is 4 by 3 pi small r cube, because its radius is smaller. So this is a total charge enclosed, that is a value of q1, total charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. So here just simplify it. We know the value for rho as this one, so put the value q by 4 by 3 pi r cube into 4 by 3 pi r cube. So all these quantities gets cancelled and we get q by r cube and small r cube. So that is a charge, the total charge enclosed inside this Gaussian surface. So we just put this value in here. So from this and this we know the E is equal to q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Just put the value for q1, that is q r cube by 4 pi epsilon naught r square r cube. So this r cube gets cancelled. We get the value for E as q r by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R cube. That is the last point from our syllabus.